Hey, I'm Greaser with Dorman Products, here to talk to you today about our Conduct-Tite line of electrical solutions. The Dorman Conduct-Tite line dates back decades, and it's one of our oldest and most well-known brands. Conduct-Tite covers all kinds of auto electrical repair and wiring projects, along with some of the most common tools needed to complete those jobs. The Conduct-Tite section, found in thousands of auto parts stores across North America, is stocked with essentials like connectors, terminals, wire spools, switches, relays, and pigtails. Often, customers will head to the Conduct-Tite aisle for the parts that they need to repair damaged vehicle wiring. Maybe some rodents chewed on a harness somewhere, or a mangled battery terminal needs to be replaced. Also, many of your customers will use Conduct-Tite parts to add electrical accessories to their vehicles, like auxiliary lights, audio equipment, winches, or connections for trailer lights. For most wiring projects, your customers will need some stranded wire in the correct diameter or gauge for the application. Wiring that is too large can be difficult to connect to smaller wires and too bulky to pass through some areas. But far worse is wiring that's too small for the job. It can melt or cause an electrical fire, so make sure that your customers understand that wiring is not one size fits all. Conduct-Tite has bulk wiring in several sizes and colors. Your customers might not know what size they need, so ask them to match up the wires from their vehicles with your stock to help ensure the right size for their applications. The universal electrical components used in auto repair are usually sorted using a 3-color system. In wiring, the smaller gauge number indicates a larger wire diameter. When choosing a connector or terminal, you can use the 3 colors as a guide to find the right fit, although it is always best to check for a snug fit before installing. The red is generally for gauges 24 through 18, blue is for 16 through 14, and yellow is for 12 through 10. Most Conduct-Tite wiring products that crimp into place are marked with the red, blue, yellow standards to help customers select the right size for a project. They're also available in larger kits that include all 3 sizes to tackle a variety of wiring jobs. The variety packs might also be a good idea when customers aren't sure what size is needed. The standard red, yellow, and blue parts can be used for all sorts of repairs and projects. Connectors and terminals are the main pieces you'll need to know. Connectors do exactly what you'd expect. They connect wires together permanently. But for wiring that needs to be disconnected or plugged into other components, you'll need a terminal, which is a piece that goes on the end of a wire to give it a specific shape. That shape might fit into another terminal. For example, a male bullet is shaped like a little bullet, and it plugs into a female bullet terminal for a connection that can be easily undone if needed. There are also spade terminals, which are thin and flat and shaped a bit like a shovel on the male side. Just like the bullet terminal, you can disconnect the male and female spade connectors in the future when it might be necessary to modify or remove the wiring. How about wires held in place by a bolt or a rivet? A ring terminal features a metal tab with a hole so the fastener can secure the wire in place. And for customers buying spools of wiring, terminals, and connectors, they'll probably want some heat shrink to seal up those connections too. Heat shrink is a protective layer that can be added over a wire and terminal or connector. Heat shrink comes in different diameters and lengths of rubbery tubing. When heat is applied, it shrinks over the wire, connector, or terminal to help insulate the connection. The heat shrink will also seal out moisture, which can increase resistance in the circuit and cause premature failure. This can be especially important for things like trailer wiring, auxiliary lighting, and components run under car, like fuel pumps. When passing wires through holes with sharp edges, make sure your customers are using protective rubber donuts called grommets to protect the wire sheath from abrasion. Conduct-Tite parts are ready to solve all kinds of everyday automotive electrical problems, but before starting an installation or repair, there's a simple and essential safety rule that you and your customers must follow. Always disconnect the battery before starting electrical work. Not only does this protect you and your customer, but it can also save your vehicle from electrical damage or a fire. When adding an electrical accessory like an auxiliary light, it is important to use fuses for additional safety. If dangerous levels of current are present, the fuse will pop and disconnect the circuit. When power for a circuit comes directly from the battery, fuses should always be installed as close to the battery as possible. Conduct-Tite has a few different styles and sizes of heat shrink, plus small torches and heat guns to shrink it into place. Heat shrink is especially important in undercar or underhood areas where moisture and road spray can cause trouble. As an alternative, some Conduct-Tite waterproof terminals and connectors have built-in heat shrink, which can make the job a little easier. The finished result has a neat appearance too. And as a final step to protect wiring, Conduct-Tite has a few different ways to finish off a wiring project: electrical tape, large heat shrink, and split loom, which is a kind of tubing with a slit in the side so that wires can be pushed safely inside for protection. Conduct-Tite has simple cable ties too to help secure all these wires. Of course, folks use cable ties, also called zip ties, for all kinds of stuff besides electrical repair, so you might get customers asking where to find them. And now you know. If you haven't already figured this out, the Conduct-Tite aisle should be your customer's first stop for just about anything electrical. Switches and relays are stocked in a variety of sizes, styles, and ratings. There are lots of different kinds of switches for all kinds of applications, and it can get a bit confusing. So to help your customers, you should know the difference between pole and throw. Pole is the number of separate circuits that the switch controls. Throw is the number of positions the switch has, like on-off or on-off-on. So a single pole, single throw switch is a basic on-off switch. A single pole, double throw switch could be used when power would be routed to one of two places. A fuel tank selector switch is a good example of this type of switch. The vehicle will use either the front tank or the rear tank, but not both. Bulb sockets and pigtails are common repair items too, and they are generally easy to install. Customers might need them to fix headlights, turn signals, marker lights, and fog lights. These pieces are very convenient when replacing, repairing, or installing wiring using special connections. Dorman also offers a huge range of harnesses ready to install, so talk to your customers about their repairs and projects. There's a chance that Dorman already makes a replacement for the pieces they're trying to repair. Our catalog includes all kinds of harnesses: indicator and brake light wiring, coil harnesses, injector harnesses, headlight wiring replacements, wheel speed sensor harnesses, and more. Your customer might not even need to modify or repair their existing wiring to solve their problem, and you'll be a hero for suggesting a plug-and-play alternative. Of course, all these parts are a lot easier to install with the right tools, which are also stocked in the planogram. Terminals and connectors are crimped into place. That means a tool crushes the thin metal inside the terminal or connector over the exposed strands at the end of a wire. The process of removing the wire's protective sheath to expose the strands inside is called stripping. Crimping and stripping pliers can accomplish both tasks, and they're a great option for just about anyone's electrical toolbox. Lots of folks try to smush connectors into place with whatever pliers are laying around, but the end result will be neater, more reliable, and ultimately safer with the correct tools. You'll also find wire cutters and electrical testing tools in the Conduct-Tite section to help with these repairs and projects. Soldering is another way to make electrical connections and repairs. It involves melting a metallic compound called solder over the exposed wire ends to create a solid joint. Crimp connections should be used for most automotive wiring repairs, but soldering supplies are available from Conduct-Tite if needed. And finally, for your most detail-oriented customers, there's the Conduct-Tite Builders Series line of tools and supplies. We have a separate video for you to check out that gives an overview of the Builders Series premium electrical components and tools for professional-looking results. Electrical projects are a lot easier to tackle with the right parts and tools. With a trip to the Conduct-Tite aisle, your customers should be able to find everything they'll need to successfully install or repair all kinds of components, and we're proud to support them with parts they can depend on. And remember, if you need any help before, during, or after the sale, our Dorman technical support team is always handy to help. Give them a ring at 866-933-2911. Thanks for taking a little time to brush up on Conduct-Tite. We hope it helps you and your customers. I'm Greaser, and I'll see you next time.